Alright, so I'm picking up where I left off in the last video. This is the TV Tropes page for theories about the series Yashahime, and I'm going to be reading these theories and reacting to them, and give my thoughts. So this is where I left off in the last video. Let's get started. Only Inuyasha is sealed away. Kagome is alive and well in a village somewhere, but our memories have been wiped. That's completely wrong. Inuyasha was sealed away. Kagome was sealed away with Inuyasha. And here they say it's half confirmed. Well, Inuyasha being sealed away is correct. The part where Kagome isn't is false, since otherwise both Inuyasha and Kagome were sealed in the Black Pearl by Sesshomaru in episode 15. Setsuna and Toa are from the future. Well, the future of the past at least. They are from some years later in the feudal era. No, Sesshomaru did not send them back in time. That one's wrong too. Koga and Ayami's kids will be introduced at some point. That hasn't happened so far. But I don't see why it necessarily can't happen in the future, so I guess we can't make a determination about this one yet until the series completely finishes. This one says Maroha actually does care about her parents, and it says here that Maroha doesn't care about her parents because she thinks they're dead. This one says the main villain is controlling the dream butterflies in some way. The real big bad is using the dream butterflies to affect the event, either by being able to directly control them or by finding a way to capture and alter them by some means. Well, this theory hasn't been proven or disproven yet. I personally think the dream butterfly has something to do with Rin in the Tree of Ages and was applied to Toa. I mean, applied to Setsuna to wipe her memories for some reason. For at least some reason, Toa trained at Nintendo Joe. Okay, this theory is completely crazy, and I think it's completely wrong. Riku is from the modern day era, just like Toa. After Riku ate the apple that Toa gave her, he describes it in English as the forbidden fruit. He's supposedly from the feudal era, yet he knows how to speak English. Also mentioning forbidden fruit means that Riku might have been educated on the story of Adam and Eve. Yeah, I noticed that too. It's a little notable. I don't think it necessarily means Riku's from the future. I mean, they say pretty much that he was created specifically by Kurimaru and Zero as a doll. Again, Kurimaru lives on a ship, so I think that just means they're in contact with foreign people of the contemporary time period. He's also lived a very long time, so he's probably just come into contact with other people sailing the seas, and so that's how he's familiar with uh, different stories from around the world. And of course, Riku serving under Kurimaru means that he's become familiar with whatever Kurimaru's become familiar with. So I think that's just the explanation for what's happened in that situation. Anyone can die is in effect. Well, Setsuna has died, but I think she's going to be brought back to life. So I'm not so sure about this one. The girls will be retconned out of existence. If the above is true that Toa, Setsuna, and Miroha have to go back in time to save the original cast, they will be erased and replaced with new versions who grew up with their parents. That's interesting. I don't know how to respond to that one. Alternatively, the Tree of Ages will let them keep their memories of the old timeline, in addition to gaining ones from the new past. It will also turn out that Toa ended up in a modern era regardless of any of her factors. Again, it's hard to determine whether the theory will be true one way or the other, because we can't until the series concludes, so I don't know. It's interesting to think about. Shishomaru is the atoner. Given what little we know about what happened to Rin, it's possible that Shishomaru is the reason most of the original characters except Moroku and Kiara are not around. It's interesting, we're getting to the part of this page where most of the theories are recent enough so that they haven't been proven or disproven yet one way or another. So this is more pure speculation from my perspective. It's possible the reason for Rin's condition was the result of death by childbirth. No, the reason for Rin's condition was that she was cursed by Zero. And Shishomaru can't revive her because the Tenseiga doesn't work that way. Shishomaru was desperate enough to make a deal with Kurimaru for Rainbow Pearls. That did not happen. This is wrong so far. I think this is not true at all. Kurimaru isn't the actual villain. Well, I think the series has demonstrated clearly that Zero is going to be the main antagonist for the series so far. Now, this theory says Riku is, and while Riku's up to something, I do not think he's going to be the main villain either. Moreover, in that flashback where he saw Kurimaru and Sesshomaru approaching Inuyasha Kagome to attack them, wasn't an actual attack, but only a meeting. I think this one's completely wrong. Toa and Setsuna's mother is Kagura. That theory is completely wrong. Rin's the mother? That one's also completely wrong. Kagura So was not split reincarnated. Yashahime will end with the principal cast living in modern Tokyo. I don't think that's going to happen, but I guess we can't tell with complete certainty until the series concludes. I don't think this is going to happen, though. If the above is true and Kagome returns to the modern era, she'll once again find herself as a fish out of temporal water. Well, I don't think the first theory is true, but she would have to adjust to the different state of the world and how it's changed in the past 20 years. By this point, Kagome has spent more time in the Fuel Era than she has in her own era, and technology has advanced a lot since she left. Back then, smartphones weren't a thing, and the internet was little more than a novelty. It would be fun to see her reaction to how the modern era has changed over the past 2 decades. Zero and the Dream Butterfly are connected in some way, or Zero is the Dream Butterfly. That may be true. We just are going to have to wait and see if it is. Kirimaru lost his right eye in a past altercation with the Great Dog Demon. No, he still has his eye, but his face is covered in scars in that portion. This theory is Zero is the true antagonist of Yashahime. Yeah, I think this one's pretty true at this point. Seeing as Kirimaru seems largely uninterested in the prophecy and is rather underwhelmed when he finally faces the trio in combat, after all, it was Zero who created the Rainbow Pearls. She ordered Hormoro to burn down the forest that the twins were in when they were 4, and she was responsible for undoing the seal on Setsuna's demon powers and causing her to go berserk. Well, that's it for the page. So, those are my thoughts on these fan theories, and it was interesting just reading them over, reviewing them, and pondering them. And it's interesting to speculate on what might happen. So that's it. I guess we can only wait and see what happens when the show releases.